The orb was alive now, its pulsing light intensifying, turning from a soft glow to a blinding brilliance. The hum had grown deafening, a vibration that felt as if it would tear their bodies apart. Alice stood at the edge of the crater, staring down at it, her heart pounding in time with the orb's rhythm. "This is it," she whispered, barely audible over the chaos. "What's it?" Harren shouted, gripping her arm as if to anchor her to the moment. "The end," she said, her voice resolute. "Or the beginning." The creatures, those horrifyingly adapted remnants of another time, emerged again, but this time they weren't silent. Their crystalline hums transformed into voices, overlapping in a symphony of languages and tones. "We were you," they said, their words cutting through the noise like a blade. "And you are us. Choose wisely, or your fate will mirror ours." The orb shifted, its light splitting into 3 distinct beams, each pointing to a different path carved into the ground. One path led into the earth, its darkness swallowing the light. Another rose toward the fractured sky, jagged and treacherous. The final path spiraled outward, its glowing edges stretching endlessly toward the horizon. Alice stepped forward, her chest tight with the weight of the moment. "It's a test," she said, the realization hitting her. "Not just for us, but for humanity." "Then what do we do?" Harren yelled, desperation seeping into his voice. Alice turned to the group, her glowing eyes filled with a mix of fear and determination. "We've spent centuries running from the consequences of our actions, blaming the universe, the government, each other. But this isn't about survival anymore, it's about redemption." The ground beneath their feet trembled as the orb emitted a low, guttural sound. The fractures in the sky widened, and from them, tendrils of light began to pour through, each one carrying fragments of memories, wars, devastation, greed. Humanity's sins laid bare for all to see. "It's showing us what we've done," Harren said, his voice shaking. "No," Alice corrected. "It's showing us what we've become." The creatures moved closer, their grotesque forms towering over the humans. But there was no malice in their gaze, only sorrow. They raised their arms, pointing toward the 3 paths. "Choose," they said in unison. Alice stepped toward the spiraling path, her heart racing. "This is the only way," she said, her voice firm. "We've been looking for a way out, a way to survive. But maybe it's not about escaping. Maybe it's about facing what we've done and building something better." The others hesitated, fear etched into their faces. But one by one, they followed her, stepping onto the glowing path. The orb pulsed again, its light growing brighter, almost blinding. As they walked, the ground beneath them began to change. The jagged edges smoothed, the fractures in the sky started to heal, and the oppressive hum quieted. But the light pouring from the orb didn't fade. It grew, spreading outward, consuming everything. And then it hit them. A wave of energy so powerful it knocked them to their knees. Visions flooded their minds. A future where humanity thrived, not because of technology or power, but because they had learned to coexist, to rebuild, to care for one another and the world around them. But the visions also carried a warning. "If you falter," the creatures' voices echoed, "this moment will be undone, and there will be no second chance." As the light began to fade, Alice found herself back at the edge of the crater, the orb gone, the ground whole again. The sky was clear, the hum silent. Harren looked around, his expression a mix of awe and disbelief. "Is it over?" he asked. Alice shook her head, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "No," she said, "it's just beginning." The creatures were gone, their forms dissolving into the air, but their message remained, etched into the very fabric of their reality. As the group turned to leave, Alice glanced back one last time, her glowing eyes meeting the faint outline of the orb in the distance. And then she whispered, "We won't forget." But deep down, she knew the real challenge was yet to come. because the greatest battle wasn't against the universe. It was against themselves. ChatGPT can make me